The German Shepherd's nose twitched violently as it approached the woman's designer heels. Officer Martinez had never seen Rex react this intensely to anything in their 3 years working customs together. Sarah Chen stood frozen, her heart hammering against her ribs as the sniffer dog circled her luggage with predatory precision. She forced a smile, but sweat beaded on her forehead. What Rex had detected hidden inside those innocent-looking Louboutin pumps would expose a drug trafficking operation worth $500,000. But Sarah had no idea her life was about to implode. The dog's behavior became increasingly erratic, pawing frantically at the shoes while whimpering with excitement. Other passengers began staring as the commotion grew. Officer Martinez felt his pulse quicken. In his 15 years of customs work, he'd learned to trust Rex's instincts completely. Something was very wrong here. Sarah's mind raced through her options. She could claim ignorance, but the dog's reaction was damning. Her carefully constructed facade was crumbling by the second. If you're already hooked by this incredible story, smash that like button, drop a comment below, and subscribe for more shocking real-life encounters that will leave you speechless. Martinez approached Sarah with practiced caution. Her expensive outfit and first-class boarding pass suggested wealth, but Rex never lied about what he smelled. "Ma'am, I'm going to need you to step aside for additional screening," Martinez said, his voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through his veins. Sarah's throat went dry. She thought about her daughter waiting at home, about the threats Marcus had made if she didn't complete this delivery. She was trapped. Marcus had seemed so charming when they first met at the gallery opening. She never imagined he was evaluating her as a potential drug mule. "Is there a problem, officer?" Sarah asked, her voice betraying the slightest tremor. She clutched her purse tighter, knuckles white with tension. Martinez had seen this look before, the mixture of fear and desperation that crossed people's faces when they realized their world was about to collapse. Rex continued his frantic behavior, now scratching at the heel of the left shoe specifically. His training was precise, and this reaction meant serious contraband. Sarah remembered Marcus's cold words. "Your daughter goes to Riverside Elementary, doesn't she? Such a lovely school. Would hate for anything to happen there." The customs area felt like it was closing in around her. Other officers were beginning to take notice of the situation unfolding at Martinez's station. "Ma'am, please place your shoes on the examination table," Martinez instructed, his hand now resting on his radio. Protocol demanded backup for situations like this. Sarah's hands shook as she removed her heels. Each shoe cost more than most people made in a month, but their true value was far more sinister. Martinez picked up the left heel, the one Rex had focused on. It felt slightly heavier than normal, and there was an almost imperceptible seam along the sole. "These are custom-made," Sarah said desperately. "The weight difference is just the craftsmanship. Italian leather is heavier than regular materials." But Martinez wasn't buying it. He'd heard every excuse imaginable. Rex was now sitting at attention, his training complete. He'd found what he was looking for. Sarah thought about the $50,000 Marcus had promised her. Money that would pay for her daughter's medical treatments and keep them afloat financially. The irony wasn't lost on her. She was risking everything to save her daughter, but getting caught would destroy them both completely. Martinez called for his supervisor. This was about to become a major case, and he wanted everything documented properly from this moment forward. Supervisor Janet Walsh arrived within minutes. Her 20-year career had taught her to read situations quickly, and this one screamed high-value bust. "What do we have here, Martinez?" Walsh asked, though Rex's continued interest in the shoes told her everything she needed to know. Sarah watched her life unravel in slow motion. Every second brought her closer to losing everything she'd tried so desperately to protect. Walsh examined the shoes with expert precision. Her trained eye immediately spotted the modification points where the heels had been carefully opened and resealed. Ma'am, these shoes have been tampered with, Walsh announced. We're going to need to examine them more thoroughly in our lab facility. Sarah's legs nearly gave out. The lab would find everything. The pure cocaine Marcus had forced her to transport would end her life as she knew it. In the secure examination room, Walsh carefully pried open the modified heel. The white powder inside was packed with professional precision. The field test confirmed their suspicions immediately. High-grade cocaine, approximately 250 grams per shoe. Street value, $500,000. Sarah broke down completely when confronted with the evidence. Years of financial desperation had led her to this moment of ultimate destruction. "I never wanted this," she sobbed. "My daughter needs surgery and I couldn't afford it. He said it was just one trip, just one time." Walsh had heard similar stories countless times, but the human tragedy never got easier to witness. Desperation made people do unthinkable things. The arrest was swift and by the book. Sarah's rights were read as she was processed, her designer outfit now evidence in a federal drug case. Rex received his reward treat, tail wagging with satisfaction. To him, this was just another successful day at work protecting the border. As Sarah was led away, she realized that trying to save her daughter had instead guaranteed she'd lose her forever. The ultimate price of desperation. The processing room felt like a tomb as Sarah sat in the metal chair, her wrists still bearing the red marks from the handcuffs. Detective Rivera entered with a thick file, his expression unreadable. Sarah Chen, age 34, single mother, works as a freelance graphic designer. Rivera read aloud. No prior criminal record. So how does someone like you end up trafficking $500,000 in cocaine? Sarah's voice cracked as she spoke. You don't understand. Marcus said it was just designer shoes. He said I was helping with import taxes, nothing illegal. Rivera had heard every lie imaginable, but something in Sarah's eyes suggested a deeper truth. Tell me about Marcus. How did you meet him? The memory felt like poison in Sarah's mind. 3 months ago at the Morrison Gallery. Emma had just been diagnosed, and the medical bills were crushing me. Emma is your daughter? Rivera's tone softened slightly. He was a father himself and recognized the desperation that came with a sick child. She has a rare heart condition. The surgery costs $200,000 and insurance won't cover experimental procedures. Sarah whispered, tears streaming down her face. Rivera felt the familiar conflict between duty and compassion. So Marcus offered you money to transport the shoes? $50,000? He said wealthy clients used this method to avoid import taxes on luxury goods. It seemed harmless. Sarah's voice broke completely. Harmless? Rivera's voice hardened. Sarah, you were carrying enough cocaine to supply half the city. People die from this stuff every day. Meanwhile, in another part of the building, Agent Foster was coordinating the manhunt for Marcus. The shoes were just the beginning of something much larger. We've been tracking this organization for 2 years, Foster explained to his team. Sarah Chen might be our first real break in the case. Back in the interrogation room, Rivera leaned forward. Sarah, if you help us catch Marcus, the prosecutor might. Consider a plea deal. Sarah's mind raced. Cooperating meant betraying Marcus, but he had already betrayed her trust in the worst possible way. What would happen to Emma if I go to prison? That depends on how much you help us, Rivera said honestly. But if you don't cooperate, you're looking at 25 years minimum for trafficking. The weight of 25 years hit Sarah like a physical blow. Emma would be 30 years old before she saw her mother again, if she survived her condition at all. He has my phone number, my address, everything about Emma's school schedule, Sarah said, fear creeping into her voice. If he finds out I talked, Rivera recognized the signs of someone caught between criminal organizations and law enforcement. We can protect you and Emma, but you have to trust us. How do I know you can keep us safe? Marcus has connections everywhere. He knew exactly when my flights were, what customs officers would be working. This revelation made Rivera's blood run cold. Sarah, are you saying Marcus had inside information about customs schedules? He knew Officer Martinez would be working with Rex today. He said the dog would be tired from the morning shift and less likely to detect anything. Rivera immediately called Agent Foster. If Marcus had someone inside customs, this case had just become a matter of national security. Foster, we have a problem. Our suspect says the trafficker had inside knowledge of customs operations and officer schedules. Foster's response was immediate. Lock down the entire customs division. No one goes home until we figure out who's feeding information to traffickers. Sarah watched the chaos unfold, realizing she had stumbled into something far more dangerous than simple drug trafficking. What have I gotten myself into? Rivera returned his attention to Sarah. You're going to help us set up Marcus. We'll arrange a meeting where you tell him the delivery was successful. He'll know something's wrong. I'm supposed to be in Los Angeles by now, not sitting in a federal building. Sarah protested. We'll say your connecting flight was delayed. These things happen all the time. The key is acting natural when you call him. Sarah's hands shook as she held the phone. One wrong word could sign her death warrant, but refusing to cooperate guaranteed decades in prison. Marcus answered on the second ring, his voice smooth and confident. Sarah, darling, how did everything go? Any problems with customs? Everything went perfectly. Sarah lied, her voice steadier than she felt. The shoes are beautiful, by the way. Italian craftsmanship really is superior. Marcus chuckled. I told you there was nothing to worry about. Martinez and his dog are predictable. Did you see how tired Rex looked? Rivera and Foster exchanged glances. Marcus had just confirmed he had detailed knowledge of specific customs officers and their canine partners. When can we meet to finalize everything? Sarah asked, following the script Rivera had given her. I'd like to get Emma's surgery scheduled as soon as possible. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. at the Meridian Hotel downtown. Room 1215. Come alone. And Sarah, Marcus's voice turned cold. Don't disappoint me. As Sarah hung up, she realized there was no going back. Tomorrow night would determine whether she saved her daughter or lost everything trying. Foster was already coordinating surveillance teams. We'll have the hotel surrounded, but Sarah has to get him to incriminate himself on tape. Sarah looked at the wire they wanted her to wear. Such a tiny device to carry the weight of her entire future and her daughter's life. The next morning, Sarah barely slept as FBI technicians fitted her with the recording device. The wire felt like ice against her skin, a constant reminder that one mistake could cost her everything. Agent Foster reviewed the operation one final time. Remember, we need Marcus to admit to the drug trafficking and reveal his source inside customs. Your daughter's future depends on this. Meanwhile, Officer Martinez was being questioned about potential security breaches in the customs division. His 15-year career was suddenly under scrutiny because of Marcus's inside knowledge. I've never leaked information to anyone, Martinez insisted, his voice strained with frustration. Rex and I do our job by the book every single day. But someone in customs was feeding information to Marcus, and until they found the leak, every officer was a suspect. The betrayal cut deep through the tight-knit team. Sarah spent the day with Emma, trying to act normal while her world crumbled around them. Every laugh from her daughter felt like a knife through her heart. Mommy, when can I have my surgery? Emma asked innocently. The doctor said it would make my heart strong like a superhero. Sarah's throat tightened. Soon, sweetheart. Mommy is working very hard to make sure you get better. The lie tasted bitter on her tongue. As evening approached, Sarah's anxiety reached a breaking point. The FBI surveillance team was already positioning themselves around the Meridian Hotel. Agent Foster's voice crackled through her earpiece during the final equipment check. "We'll be monitoring everything. If you feel unsafe, say the word butterfly, and we'll move in immediately." Sarah entered the hotel lobby at 7:45 p.m., her heart pounding so hard she was certain everyone could hear it. The marble floors felt like they might give way beneath her feet. The elevator ride to the 12th floor felt eternal. Each floor that passed brought her closer to a confrontation that would determine her fate and Emma's future. Room 1215 was at the end of a long hallway. Sarah's footsteps echoed ominously as she approached the door that held her destiny. Marcus opened the door before she could knock, his smile predatory and confident. "Sarah, punctual as always. Please, come in." The hotel suite was luxurious, but Sarah felt like she was entering a trap. Marcus gestured to a chair, but she remained standing, every muscle tense. "You seem nervous, darling. The hard part is over. You've proven yourself quite capable," Marcus said, pouring himself a drink from the minibar. "I need the money for Emma's surgery," Sarah said, trying to keep her voice steady. "When can you transfer the $50,000? Marcus laughed, a sound devoid of warmth. "50,000? Oh, Sarah, that was just the trial run. You're worth much more to me now." Sarah's blood ran cold. "What do you mean, trial run? You said it was a one-time thing to help with Emma's medical bills." "Those shoes contained $500,000 worth of pure cocaine. You just proved you can move serious product without detection," Marcus said, his mask completely dropped. "I won't do it again," Sarah said firmly, though her voice shook. "I only agreed because you said it was tax avoidance, nothing illegal." Marcus's expression turned dangerous. "You don't have a choice anymore, Sarah. You're already a federal drug trafficker. One phone call and you'll spend decades in prison. But if you cooperate, you'll make enough money to save Emma and live comfortably forever. Next month you'll carry 10 times what you did yesterday." Sarah's mind reeled. 10 times the amount meant $5 million worth of drugs. "I can't. If I get caught with that much, I'll never see Emma again." "You won't get caught because my contact in customs will make sure you're processed by the right officer at the right time," Marcus said confidently. This was the confession Foster needed. Sarah pressed for more details, her fear temporarily overridden by determination to protect other families from this nightmare. "Who is your contact? How do you know they can be trusted?" Sarah asked, playing the role of concerned accomplice perfectly. Marcus smiled smugly. "Supervisor Janet Walsh has been feeding me information for 2 years. She ensures my packages get through specific checkpoints." Sarah felt sick. Walsh was the supervisor who had caught her, the woman who seemed so dedicated to protecting the border. The corruption ran deeper than anyone imagined. "Walsh makes sure the right dogs are tired, the right officers are distracted, and the right luggage gets minimal screening," Marcus continued, detailing the entire operation. "What about yesterday? She was the one who caught me," Sarah said, genuinely confused about how the plan had failed so spectacularly. Marcus's face darkened. "Walsh got greedy. She demanded more money and threatened to expose everything. So I decided to let you get caught and eliminate 2 problems at once." The betrayal hit Sarah like a physical blow. "You set me up? You knew I'd be arrested? What about Emma's surgery money?" "Emma was never my concern," Marcus said with chilling indifference. "You were useful until Walsh became a liability. Now you're both loose ends." Sarah's maternal rage overrode her fear. "You monster! You used my daughter's illness to manipulate me into becoming a drug mule, then planned to destroy us both." Marcus reached into his jacket, and Sarah saw the glint of metal. "I'm afraid this conversation is over, Sarah. You know too much about my operation now." "Butterfly!" Sarah screamed as Marcus pulled out the gun. The hotel room door exploded inward as FBI agents stormed in, weapons drawn and ready. The gunshot never came. Marcus froze as red laser dots danced across his chest, FBI agents shouting commands from every direction. His weapon clattered to the floor as reality crashed down around him. "Marcus Delacroix, you're under arrest for drug trafficking, conspiracy, and attempted murder," Agent Foster announced as tactical officers swarmed the hotel suite. Sarah collapsed into a chair, adrenaline leaving her system as the immediate danger passed. The Wire had captured everything, including Marcus's confession about Supervisor Walsh's corruption. Within minutes, Walsh was being arrested at her home, her 20-year career ending in handcuffs as neighbors watched in shock from their windows. The recording revealed the full scope of the operation. Walsh had compromised dozens of shipments over 2 years, allowing millions of dollars in drugs to flood American streets. Officer Martinez felt vindicated but sickened. His own supervisor had been undermining everything he and Rex worked to protect at the border. Sarah's cooperation had exposed a major corruption ring, but her legal troubles were far from over. Federal prosecutors still had to decide her fate. The plea negotiations took weeks. Sarah's complete cooperation and the circumstances of her manipulation were weighed against the severity of trafficking charges. Emma's medical condition couldn't wait for legal proceedings. The stress of her mother's situation was affecting her heart condition, making surgery even more urgent. A surprising development emerged when Marcus's other victims came forward. Sarah wasn't his first target, just his most recent manipulation. Jennifer Walsh, a single mother from Phoenix, had been coerced the same way 6 months earlier. Her son needed cancer treatment she couldn't afford. Maria Santos from Miami had carried drugs to pay for her elderly father's dialysis treatments. Marcus had perfected his method of exploiting parental desperation. The pattern was clear. Marcus targeted vulnerable parents with sick family members, offering false hope while destroying their lives for profit. Public defender Lisa Chen fought hard for Sarah's case, arguing that she was a victim of sophisticated manipulation rather than a willing criminal participant. The judge listened carefully to testimony about Marcus's psychological manipulation tactics and the desperate circumstances that made Sarah vulnerable to his scheme. Character witnesses testified about Sarah's devotion to Emma and her previously spotless record as a law-abiding citizen and caring mother. The prosecution acknowledged Sarah's cooperation, but emphasized that drug trafficking laws existed to protect society from exactly these kinds of operations. After 3 days of testimony, the judge announced his decision. Sarah would receive 5 years probation and community service instead of prison time. The condition was that Sarah would work with federal agencies to identify and prevent similar exploitation schemes targeting desperate parents. Marcus received 25 years in federal prison without possibility of parole. His drug empire was dismantled, assets seized to compensate victims. Walsh got 15 years for corruption and conspiracy. Her betrayal of public trust had enabled countless crimes and endangered national security. The seized assets from Marcus's operation were liquidated, creating a victim compensation fund that would help pay for Emma's surgery and other medical needs. Emma's surgery was scheduled for the following month. The experimental procedure offered hope for a normal childhood that had seemed impossible before. Sarah began her community service by speaking at airports and border crossings, warning travelers about recruitment tactics used by drug traffickers. Her story became part of federal training programs, teaching customs officers how to identify victims of coercion versus willing participants. Rex received a commendation for his role in exposing the corruption ring. His nose had literally sniffed out a conspiracy that threatened border security. Officer Martinez was promoted to supervisor, tasked with rebuilding trust and implementing new security protocols to prevent future corruption. The other victims of Marcus's scheme found support through a network Sarah helped establish, connecting exploited parents with legal and emotional resources. Emma's surgery was successful, beyond all expectations. Her heart grew stronger each day, and her smile returned as her energy levels improved. 6 months later, Sarah testified before Congress about the vulnerability of desperate parents to criminal exploitation and the need for better social safety nets. Her testimony led to new legislation providing emergency medical funding for families facing catastrophic healthcare costs, preventing future exploitation. The Meridian Hotel incident became a case study in federal law enforcement training, demonstrating how corruption investigations require multi-agency cooperation. Sarah returned to graphic design work, but now also consulted with law enforcement agencies on victim psychology and criminal recruitment methods. Emma started school that fall, her heart condition finally stable enough for normal childhood activities like playground games and sports. The mother and daughter's bond grew even stronger through their shared ordeal, proving that love and determination could overcome even the darkest circumstances. Sarah's story serves as a powerful reminder that criminals prey on desperation, using our love for family as weapons against us in their schemes. If this story opened your eyes to how scammers exploit parental love and desperation, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that protects you and your family. Share this with anyone who needs to recognize these dangerous manipulation tactics.